Opinions on the Emerald Archer of Seattle have been divided as of late. Some view him as a hero, others as a dangerous nuisance. Reporter Victoria Much gives a full story on Green Arrow. She discusses how recently the fugitive was seen at Queen Industries. Allegedly, the villain set off a bomb in the office of the company's CFO, Cyrus Broderick. Arrow escaped after this incident, assaulting several officers in the process. Meanwhile, the city is still reeling from a disaster after the Emerald Express was derailed. There are conflicting reports over what happened during this, but the Arrow remains a person of interest in both the train crash and the subsequent assassination of noted diplomat and peacemaker Amin Mustafa. Victoria interviews several people in the city about this controversial public figure. A police officer named Sheriff Nodding views him as a criminal, and others agree, while some citizens view him as nothing but a hero. One woman, Maureen Lynch, claims that Green Arrow broke into her home and forced her to donate half of her salary and a truckload of EpiPens to a local hospital. She doesn't care if it was tax deductible. It was robbery, damn it, plain and simple. However, a family Victoria interviews gives a very different story, as the Green Arrow saved them from slave labor when nobody else could. With the public largely unsure what to make of all of this, Victoria's investigation continues, while the city wonders who this Emerald Archer really is, and where he hides among them. Outside of Seattle, in the wilderness, Green Arrow and his friends are setting themselves up in the woods. Oliver is focused on clearing his name and getting his company back, but Black Canary warns him the last time they tried this, Oliver Queen had to publicly die. Green Arrow is all that he has left, and the city needs him. She insists they aren't just building a treehouse out here. It's the start of a new life for both of them. Back in the city, Sheriff Nodding attacks a man and begins to brutally beat him. His attack is short-lived when Arrow arrives on the scene and attacks the officer. Insisting that he will not tolerate the abuse of power, the Emerald Archer incapacitates the cop, while a woman films the whole thing. This video goes viral, and pretty soon the Seattle Police Department draws sharp criticism, while the public opinion on Green Arrow moves vastly in the hero's favor. Sergeant Nodding is now on administrative leave while the police investigate the incident further. Later, at Seattle City Hall, mayoral candidate Nathan Domini holds a rally. His family built their legacy through lumber. They worked hard, put themselves first, and other people benefited because of it. A woman in the crowd cries out that Domini's family laid her father off. Nathan is dismissive of this and orders his followers to get rid of her, and not to be nice about it. Thanking the crowd, Nathan takes his leave and enters his car. He's surprised to find his driver is none other than Oliver Queen, who is supposed to be dead. Ollie explains that he's only pretending to be dead out of a convenience. He needs a favor from Nathan, and as old friends, he hopes the politician can help him out. Nathan scoffs at this. Though they go back a ways, things have changed. Domini didn't even like Oliver even before he was accused of murder. Ever since Queen went to that damn island, he became a liberal blowhard, and Nathan wants nothing to do with him. Just the same, Oliver leaves a special recording device that he'd like to plant on Queen Industries CFO Cyrus Broderick, hoping that Nathan will change his mind. Later that night, Queen and Black Canary scope out an abandoned drug house. Oliver lies about where he was that day, not wanting her to know about going after Cyrus. The two are surprised to find that whoever was here left behind a lot of drugs that could have been sold, but were instead abandoned. Additionally, whatever happened here, based on bullet holes in the wall, there was a violent encounter. These thoughts are interrupted when a homeless man arrives to collect some scrap metal. The stranger agrees to tell them what happened here in exchange for one of Oliver's arrows, which the hero quickly agrees to. The homeless man draws out an image of the people that did this, all dressed in the same strange garb. Oliver and Canary share a worried look. Elsewhere, Cyrus sits, musing openly about disasters. The things people who survive these events remember are not the disasters themselves, but the morning they happened. They remember clear and sunny mornings, or children playing in the park. They remember the beautiful, as if the world tricked them into thinking everything will be okay. That's where Green Arrow is right now, under a terrible blue sky. Only later will he realize this was the beginning of catastrophe. As Cyrus has learned, the Emerald Archer is surprisingly difficult to kill, but he has a better plan. Something far more toxic. Oliver Queen has nothing left but Green Arrow, but pretty soon they'll be taking that away from him too. They're gonna turn the entire city against him. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my recap and review of Green Arrow number 12. Well, this was great. Just a great, fine comic overall. We haven't ever actually reviewed a Green Arrow story, or really talked about this character much here on Comic Island, so it was a nice change of pace to check things out here. I've got to say I was really impressed with this issue. For me not knowing anything really going in, this comic did a great job at filling in the blanks and introducing a new and very fun story. The only thing I don't know is why Arrow has relocated to Seattle, but I'm kinda just gonna go with it and enjoy this issue just the same. Because there's a very formidable story going on here. It's quite impressive just how much is done in one little comic. Writer Benjamin Percy really has a handle on this story and its structure. It's quite elaborate, but it's so well executed that it's very easy to follow. While there's a lot of great character work in each and every scene that makes it a great story. I like how even small roles like the homeless man felt like real characters. He has a brief interaction with our hero, but it's a solid dynamic that pays off nicely, and the way he draws out these mysterious figures reflects the character's quirks while also hinting at something more in the future. It's a solid little mystery they set up in this scene that I really appreciated. And the writing in general is just good. Under a terrible blue sky. I don't know, I just like that line. And in general, the way Percy wrote this comic was just really admirable. Good stuff. I also like the art. It's a nice blend of realistic and cartoony that just kind of works for me. The way Arrow and Canary's hair almost looks white in certain light is kind of a cool effect. The artist and colorist Otto Schmidty achieves, and in general does remarkable work, using the colors to convey different beats of the story. At first, everything is kind of bright and vaguely optimistic, but when the ball drops, and the ball drops hard, suddenly there's red. Red everywhere, and it's both brilliant and kind of lovely to look at, even though a bunch of people are being brutally murdered. How fun! It's an impressive comic, one that manages to take a lot of old story ideas and plot lines and provide just enough twists and does it just differently enough to make things feel fresh. I admit some of the political content is a little on the nose, and the Nathan character is a bit obvious for my taste. Yet in spite of that, Green Arrow has pretty much always been a political character. So it's hard to be upset about this if you really know your DC history, and you know what? Nathan thus far seems like a pretty fun character. He's not heroic, but he's not irredeemable either. He has qualities I can respect, and I get why people in this fictional version of a very real city like him. DC doesn't often opt for real-world locations like this, by the way. It's an interesting choice to pick Seattle as the setting, and I'm curious if more will come of that. I do know Green Arrow has operated out of Seattle before, and I am sure if I read earlier comics I'd know the answer to why this is happening, but whatever, perhaps this is a callback to that time period. There's lots of little references like that in this comic, my particular favorite being Sergeant Nodding. A nice little reference to the Robin Hood stories from which Green Arrow draws inspiration. Little details like that go a long way in making a comic great, and all told, this was a pretty great issue. I recommend this comic. This was a Patreon requested review and I'm glad to have gotten it. It was a fun and different issue, and this series might be worth your time if you like the recap. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.